I'm Julie O'Malley and welcome to IHN Independent Horror News. Coming up on this episode, we have a review of James Gunn's Slither, but first, our top stories. GoreZone.net is reporting that Dario Argento's new film, The Third Mother, is officially completed, but its release has been pushed until October 2007. It appears that injuries Nicole Kidman received recently on the set of the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers actually happened during reshoots after Warner's was unhappy with the cut German filmmaker Oliver Hirschbiegel handed in. The new scenes were written by the Wachowski brothers and directed by V for Vendetta's James McTeague. In other remake news, 300's Gerard Butler is attached to star as Snake Plissken in a remake of Escape from New York. Filming has started in Hollywood on Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween. No news yet on a release date for the remake of Wizard of Gore starring Crispin Glover, although the trailer is now available online. The Jessica Alba remake of The Eye is set to start shooting in Albuquerque and is looking for tall, slender, bald, androgynous actors that can dance. Variety is listing a December 7, 2000 release for Motel Hell. Although no other information is available, we can assume it's a remake of the 1980 cult film. The much-rumored On-Again, Off-Again Friday the 13th remake is now rumored to be On Again. And last but not least, Fangoria is reporting that plans are underway for a remake of the Abel Ferrara classic, The Driller Killer. Keep an eye out for the Anchor Bay's release of the German American Pie meets Shaun of the Dead zombie hit Der Nicht der Lebende Loser. It was released in the U.S. on February 20th as Night of the Living Dorks. MGM is reporting that something is new with the Poltergeist franchise, although whether it will be a sequel or a remake has yet to be announced. Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider has announced that he's working with Lionsgate on a possible Strangeland sequel, tentatively entitled Strangeland 2: Disciple. Lionsgate will be releasing a special edition of the original Strangeland in July, with a newly shot scene to prelude the upcoming sequel. Where do science fiction, fantasy, and horror fans like to travel? That's the question the GenreTraveler.com is asking with their first annual Genre Traveler photo contest. The contest will run from March 15th through May 31st, 2007. Photographers of all skill levels, from amateur to professional, are invited to enter their photographs of science fiction, fantasy, and horror destinations. 3 winners will win a cash prize and have their winning entries featured in the upcoming The Genre Traveler 2008 calendar. For more information, check thegenretraveler.com. That's this month's headlines. Stay tuned for our review of Slither, but first, this month's DVD forecast.
Hello, ya horror fans. I'm Jack, and I'm back. Well, since the producers finally got off their lazy asses and decided to make another episode, I thought you just might like a special edition DVD for the DVD forecast. In the special features section, we have what you've missed. In case you didn't see, Night of the Living Dorks, a German zombie comedy, was released on a special edition last month. Also, Night of the Comet is finally getting a shot on DVD. Reanimator got a 2-disc special edition last month, and there's a 3-disc ultimate edition of Versus currently grazing store shelves. In the coming soon section of our DVD forecast, we have good flicks hitting shelves this month. On April 3rd, you can pick up the Mario Bava Collection Volume 1, which has Black Sunday, Black Sabbath, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, and Knives of the Avenger, all in one box. Damn, one box, that's a lot of movies. Coming on April 10th, both Phantasm and Phantasm 3 are being released as new special editions. And trust me, I've marked it on my calendar. You can keep your eye out for a re-release of The Black Cat and also The House by the Cemetery on April 24th. Last but not least, for all you Alice Sweet Alice fans out there, a special edition hits stores May 1st. Alright, I'm Jack, and that was this month's DVD forecast. My head. Where is it? I can't find it. I see my body, but there it is.
Sounds like a couple of must-haves there. Coming up next, our review of Slither featuring our new DVD review guru, Nick Hoffman.
There are two kinds of horror movies that are worth watching. The first, of course, is the classic jump from your seat, stain your drawers screamathon. The second is the camped out, laugh yourself silly and end up on Mystery Science Theater 3000 cheese fest. It's the rare film that really manages to scare, rarer still the film that makes us laugh on purpose, such as George Romero's Creepshow. Slither makes the ambitious attempt to do both. Slither is the film directorial debut of James Gunn, who you may remember as the writer of Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, as well as the Scooby-Doo movies and a host of other films. Gunn is a total devotee of 80s horror films and has made what clearly comes across as an homage to his heroes. Unfortunately, despite an impressive cast, including Nathan Fillion of the Joss Whedon Firefly series and its film cousin Serenity, Elizabeth Banks from Scrubs and 40-Year-Old Virgin, Michael Rooker, Jenna Fisher, and more, Slither simply doesn't reach the lofty heights to which it aspires. It starts with the space alien crash lands on Earth and leaves a nasty present gimmick. The gimmick in this case turns out to be the first of 5 progressions of monster that look for all the world like a translucent pulsating globulous vagina that spits out a quivering dart which bears more than a passing resemblance to Audrey 2 from Little Shop. Our victim, played by Michael Rooker, is a flustered former Marine type turned frustrated 40-hour-a-week hubby. After he's nailed in the woods by our critter, he develops an insatiable appetite for all things flesh, starting with the meat market, moving through the pet population, and finally ending up with, you guessed it, people. Yes, it seems Mr. Gunn has a bit of a flesh-eating zombie fetish. From there, we go from what is told as an almost languidly paced examination of a man's descent into monsterhood to a sort of an attempted cross between arachnophobia and Alien. I won't spoil the surprise, but for those of you who've never seen Woody Allen's Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, think giant disembodied breast that talks. Said breast then gives birth to critter number 4, a gazillion little red slug-like things that zip all over the place at high speed trying to get down the gullets of any live thing in sight, creating yet more zombies for our heroes, all the name actors except Rooker, to avoid, kill, or comment on. Sounds like goofy fun, right? Problem is, the film is paced so slowly in the beginning while it meanders around Rooker's marital troubles with local dish teacher Liz Banks that it takes more than 40 minutes for the real mayhem to begin, and by then we're looking at our watches. Another problem is that the scares never really scare. On the shriekometer, this film can only really manage a stout "yeah." And that's because as the main monster, Rooker is never really all that menacing. He's sympathetic and remains in love with his wife. Furthermore, every other manifestation in Monster is either just gross or, in the case of Mother Tit, silly. The slugs look more like giant mutated red sperm, which, let's face it, ain't all that menacing unless you're wearing Armani. Worse still, they squeak like mice. Squeaking sperm? This is not to say that the film is a total train wreck by any stretch. The actors, especially Nathan Fillion as Sheriff Bill Pardee and the aforementioned Liz Banks, have terrific chemistry and really all go for their roles. The most fun being Greg Henry, late of Gilmore Girls and United 93 as Mayor R.J. McCready. Does that name sound familiar, Carpenter fans? Henry has a spaz-out moment in the back of the sheriff's car that shows just how much fun everyone's having. The DVD features the film as released plus extras, which are so-so. Of the deleted scenes, only the meat market file is a real keeper. The effects sequence with John Gadecki will teach you things about the adult toy industry as well as our sperm slugs that you may find interesting or disgusting depending on your proclivities. And the Gorehound grill with patented blood recipe is mildly amusing and informative. The rest, unfortunately, is snoozeville. A word to the producers about gag reels. Gag reels do not work if they're planned or produced. This isn't America's Funniest Home Videos. They need to be impromptu, unintended, and unstaged, so please forget the sound effects. Sadly, despite all the good work, great production values, and obvious love thrown in, Slither never really scares and never really makes us laugh our butts off. And we want it to. It's not terrible, it's just not as good as it or we wanted it to be. That's it. I'm Nick Hoffman. See you next time.
Thanks, Nick, and welcome to the IHN family. That about wraps up this episode. I'm Julie O'Malley for IHN Independent Horror News. See you next month, and until then, have a bloody good time at the movies.